Neeraj, who is a doctor turned social entrepreneur. We also have a student achiever, Akanksha Singh, founder and ex-chairperson of IEEE WIE SRM, also an application developer at HSBC. I would like to also welcome Dr. M. Sangeeta, Branch Counselor of IEEE SRM Student Branch, and Dr. M.S. Vasanti, Faculty Advisor of IEEE WIE SRM, who are present here today with us. It is truly an honor having all of you here among us today. Now, I would like to request Sangeeta ma'am, our branch counselor, to share a few words with us.
Good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you all for this webinar, which has been organized on the day of uh, Women's Equality. First of all, I congratulate the Women in Engineering team of IEEE SRM Student Branch for organizing such events. Now, all the events have been conducted in online, and we don't have students in the campus. During that time, also, IEEE is very active in conducting various competitions for the students on various occasions like Women's Day and Women's Inequality, Gender Equality, and other things. So I congratulate Dr. Vasanti ma'am, the faculty advisor of IEEE WIE, and the IEEE WIE advisors, student advisors, who are making this event a grand success. And I welcome all the speakers, eminent speakers for today. And for the information of the speakers, I would like to say a few words about IEEE SRM student branch. This IEEE SRM student branch was started in the year 2017 with a handful of members. We had that time around 75 student members to start up with. Then within a year, the student membership has gone till 125. And currently, we are maintaining the same strength because due to pandemic, we have a small degradation in the student memberships, but we'll again get it back. And we have been organizing various events, technical events, where students will be the organizers, and they will be conducting events such as seminars, project workshops, and project expos. And we also do some social outreach activities. So IEEE WIE is very, very active in conducting social outreach activities of IEEE SRM student branch. So one of the affinity group which is very vibrant is IEEE WIE. So I congratulate all the students and the faculty advisor for having such an useful webinar which are apt for the day. Thank you, and all the best for the event.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Those words were truly impelling. So, without further ado, let's begin with the session. I would like to introduce Harshita ma'am. Ms. Harshita Annadurai is a software development engineer in cloud at McAfee. She graduated from BNMIT Bangalore in 2020. She is the president of Rock the Talk Toastmasters Club. She enjoys public speaking and she is the author of the page Heart of Speech Making, which she came up with to help people be better speakers. Ms. Harshita, I would love to request you to address the audience now.
Thank you so much, Shambhavi. A quick audio video check. Can you see me and hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Do you see your worth amidst all the dirt thrown at you? Do you choose for yourself careers, partners, and everything else? Do you put your views across the table without a gag in your throat? Do you prioritize yourself over everything and everyone else? Do you have the key to your happiness held tight in your hands? Do you feel safe physically, mentally, and emotionally? Do you get to be yourself, to love yourself, and to admire yourself? If your answer to all of those questions was yes, then congratulations. You are an empowered woman. Wishing you all a splendid evening. I'm Harshita, an engineer, a public speaker, a writer, a woman. Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of the United States, once said, "Don't be afraid, be focused, be determined, be hopeful, and be empowered." And today, on this forum, I'll be sharing with you all my 50 cents about those memories of mine which makes me feel empowered. My life can be divided into three different parts. There is Harshita the kid, Harshita the college student, and the self-reliant Harshita. Let me start off with Harshita the kid. Harshita, the kid, was a very competitive girl. It could be something as small as writing a speech or winning a practice match at a basketball coaching, or something really huge, like becoming the sports captain of our school, which was considered a boy's thing to do, by the way. I would be so competitive at everything. And I always liked asking questions. Why is it this way? What if I don't do it? And why should I even do it? I would ask questions for every single thing that happened around me. And man, I can't tell you how grateful I am to have had this quality of mine. However, as a kid, I also had negative qualities. I was insecure about so many things. But the one thing that topped my list off my list of insecurities was the way I looked. We as women are expected to look a certain way, right? When I was younger, I was a really chubby kid. And this was a huge confidence crusher. Many mocked me for the way I looked, for how big I was. And many, when I say many, many of these people were either people who were related to me by blood or people I spoke to on a daily basis. We don't realize how damaging it could be for one's self image when we mock them over their self appearance. It is sick how people think they are funny or cool when they're calling someone else names on the basis of their appearance or on their basis of their gender or on their backgrounds or anything else for that matter. However, luckily for us today, the society is way more inclusive and we can proudly show our uniqueness. The progress is slow, I agree, but it is surely happening at least. The college student, Harshita, is the next phase. I was more evolved and matured when I was in college. This is also when I gained so much more awareness about my surroundings. I was matured enough to understand all the inequalities faced by women. And because I was aware of all these inequalities, I knew that I did not want to fall into that trap at all. I was matured enough to get over my insecurities and to instead focus on what I felt was necessary for me. I had plans for myself and I worked so hard to pave my way to achieve what I thought I personally deserved. I worked to initiate my college's first women's basketball team and I also led it. I was one of the founders of my college's English communication club. I studied hard and I bagged one of the best job offers from the companies that came to my college for placements. Now, this leads to the self reliant Harshita. I can't begin to tell you all how important financial empowerment even is. Yes, people say that money doesn't buy happiness, but being economically dependent can take away access to being empowered. What financial empowerment did to me was that it gave me wings to do my things in my own way. It made me more self confident. And most importantly, it made me feel so much more significant. Financial empowerment helps you be independent in so many other ways, and that is why it is important. Now, coming to the most enriching journey of them all, my journey at my workplace. I was luckily placed in a company where I had access to meeting such amazing people and working along with such amazing groups. We in my company get equal opportunities. And in fact, there are initiatives to help women, to help members of the LGBTQ community, and to help members who are disabled be better. And this brings me to the next point. It is important that we provide opportunities to people of all genders, women, members of the LGBTQ community. They all deserve equal opportunities, and such initiatives are extremely important. When I had joined, I was the only female member in my team. But still, everyone in my team was treated the same. We were all treated equally. And that is what educated and open minded men who were in my team brought to the table. I can't tell you how grateful I felt for having men who were secure, who were broad minded and progressive at my workplace. That is when I realized how important it is for people of all genders. You could be a man, a woman, or a member of the LGBTQ community. It is important for every single one of us to know that equality for every single one of us is important. That empowerment of every single one of us is important. And that growth of all genders is equally important. A man can proudly be a dancer or a fashion influencer. And a woman can proudly be in the army or even a taxi driver. Anyone belonging to any gender can be whatever they want to be. And we as a society should stop stereotyping people on the basis of their gender. I read somewhere that empowerment can be of different types. There is social empowerment, there's psychological empowerment, and there's financial empowerment. Social empowerment strengthens women's social relationships and their positions in the social structure. I became the president of Rock the Talk Toastmasters Club. I happen to be the youngest president the club has ever had. This makes me feel socially empowered. I work with people from across the globe, with people of all age groups, and with people who have such different ideas of the same different thing. It empowered me in a way that no experience had previously. I got to lead people who are so much older to me, who are so much wiser than me. It gave me an opportunity to learn so many different things while I was leading them. It opened new doors for me. I got to interact with multiple clubs and got to take up various positions across the district. I got to work with Instagram influencers, with investors, with artists, with musicians, with writers, with founders of companies, and so many more. I also have a page of mine which is based on public speaking called Heart of Speech Making on Instagram, where I post content to help people improve their English speaking and public speaking skills. I conduct workshops as well for the same. And this also makes me feel empowered because knowledge is not only about having it, but it's also important to share knowledge. And sharing knowledge is also important because we empower others in different ways while sharing the knowledge that we have. Now, economic empowerment is the next type of empowerment. Economic empowerment is about giving women opportunities that enables women to increase their right to economic resources. Women should be able to earn their money. They should be able to invest their money. They should be able to save their money and they can do whatever they want with their money. This way, we can have greater control over meaningful decisions that will benefit them and their communities. Providing for myself gave me a sense of self-satisfaction, and it also gave me a sense of independence. Psychological empowerment is another kind of empowerment. Now, psychological empowerment helps break the traditional and patriarchal taboos that we all know, and it lets women go beyond what is expected of them from the society. We are always judged, aren't we? We are judged on the basis of our behaviors, our wants and needs, or even things as small as our clothes. Psychological empowerment lets us develop a sense of choice. We may not be able to control what others think of us, but we can definitely be psychologically empowered and stop caring about what they think of us. And that is why psychological empowerment is important. The next bit of information that I wanted to share was about the importance of learning to initiate conversations and actions. It is extremely important to learn to initiate conversations, initiate actions. It, in fact, wasn't until very recently that I started having conversations with my dad about my professional life and my personal life. And that's when I realized that our parents don't want to shy away from having these conversations, but they just don't initiate conversations about our personal lives or our professional lives because their parents never did with them. Most of our parents didn't ask them questions about their career graph or about their next professional milestone or about their relationships. And that is why our parents don't feel the need to do it with us. But for us, it is important that we learn to initiate these conversations. I had this conversation very, very recently with my dad, and somehow suddenly I just feel like he's my best friend, and that is how much it lets you open with your parents. Throughout my life, I have come across a bunch of men and women who have inspired me to be better. Firstly, there's my dad. He met with an accident a long time back because of which he lost his right arm, but that wasn't going to stop him at all. He has his own company and he has employed people with little to no resources and has helped them lead a good life. He isn't just an empowered person, but he also has helped empower other people, and that is why he'll always be my hero. My mother is a strong woman who lives her life on her terms. She's taught me how important it is to do what you want to do and to not care about what the society thinks. I've been lucky to meet some amazing women at my workspace. They are women who handle so many different things and they do it so easily. They inspire me to be a multitasker and to be a go getter. I'm blessed to have some amazing friends Shreyas, Kriti, Namrit, Shruti, who've always supported me and have always got my back. They're people who know me completely and who have accepted me completely. And we all know how important acceptance is. Acceptance at your family, amongst your friend circle, at your workplace, or wherever you go. When people accept you to a certain degree, it lets you feel a sense of comfort around them. And that is why acceptance is important. And it is important to have such supporters behind you at all points in time. To have been around such inspiring people who consistently support me and who have taught me to push myself further, it has taught me to never settle for less. And finally, here is the biggest learning of my life. It lies within the three different stories that I told you about the three different Harshitas. The first Harshita was all about asking questions, right? Ask, and keep asking questions until you find all the answers you were searching for. The second Harshita was all about awareness. Be aware. Know what is going on around you. Awareness is key to understand your environment. The third Harshita was the self-reliant Harshita, was all about acting. When you have asked your questions and you've made yourself aware, all that is left for you to do is to act. It is important for you to take action on what you feel is necessary. Understanding what's going on around you is not the end of your phase. It is important that you act upon the thing and get it done well. If there is anybody out there whose happiness and growth you are responsible for, then that person is just you. Do what makes you happy. There are always going to be people who will be a hindrance to your growth or even to your happiness at times. And guess what? Sometimes they might be people in your circle as well, or even in your family, you never know. But remember to prioritize yourself, to prioritize your professional life, and to prioritize your personal life. Do things the way you like it. And as they always say, you do you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. That was an amazing speech. I loved how you shared your personal experience about three different versions of yourself and correlated it with your success and shared your views. We have a few questions from the audience for you. It would be amazing if you could address them. So, the first question is what was the toughest part of your journey so far?
The toughest part of my journey so far has been to accept myself. I feel like, I don't know if this is everybody or just me, but I feel like we as women in general go through phases where we don't know who we are. We're just so confused at so many different things. When you have so many different options, it just causes a lot of confusion in your mind. And to know what I wanted was the most difficult part. But once you get there, you know the journey forward, you know the path ahead, you know which direction to take. So the journey just becomes that much easier. So it is important for all of us to understand what we want in life, because once you know what you want, you just know what to do to get what you want, right? So to know what I want was the tricky part of my life so far.
Okay, that was great. The another question is, like you mentioned that you yourself suffered from, being motivated towards loving yourself and working hard and towards succeeding. So, what do you think can be done to inculcate this in the society itself and motivate young women?
Right. So I feel like we live in a very judgmental world where we're always judging others or getting judged. And this is a cycle that just keeps happening. So if you do something, there are going to be 100 people talking bad about you or what you've done. If I do something, there are going to be a few others who are going to talk about me. And I think this is one mindset that we should stop as individuals. So we give others the freedom to dream what they want to do. Obviously, when you're dreaming and when you want to do things, you are going to fail. Life is not easy. You will have obstacles in your way. And it is important for us to accept that they're going to have obstacles and to let them just be themselves. And once you do that by your side, once you stop judging others, you would have gotten that amount of self realization to understand to not judge others. So once you do that, right, you also realize that others are judging you for the same reason. So you just stop caring. So that is how I coped up with having these issues in my personal life.
Yeah, one more question, Harshita. Wonderful control on the language. That's something I'm admiring and it's amazing. So, what do you think on how much this speaking skills or command over the language really works towards empowerment for the, especially the women who are hesitant always to talk out or speak out freely? So how much is this language command or communication, command over how you speak really matter?
Thank you so much for the compliment, ma'am. And language command, it could be any language that you're speaking. It could be English, Hindi, Tamil, or any language that you speak. But it is important to get what you think out there. So as long as you're able to do that, it is fully fine as to what language you're speaking in, or if you have grammatical errors, or any of that is acceptable as long as you convey what you want to say in the right way. And that is all communication is about, right? The medium is not the key. It is about whether the message has been delivered right. So as long as you do that well, I don't think public speaking or a language command plays much of a role in that area.
Really, that is really, a relief for many of them who may not be so good at, real public speaking skills. Great. Yeah. Shambhavi, continue.
Okay, so thank you, ma'am. I personally loved your responses so much, and I truly agree with you on your stances. Next up, Dr. Malvika is a doctor turned social entrepreneur. She aims at taking her education for the larger good of Mumbai, a city she loves dearly. Currently navigating Mumbai slums to understand the complexities of Indian healthcare systems and how the inequalities can be put to rest, I request Malvika ma'am to address the audience and tell us more about her experiences.
Yeah. Thanks, Shambhavi. Hi, everyone can hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're
Yes,
audible.
good evening,
Uh,
Malvika.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, in the
Good
beginning,
evening.
I was, I think I missed you out. I'm happy that you are here and great to have you volunteering with us to address our
Thank you.
students. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming.
Yeah, I'm feeling actually a bit out of place because I'm in the company of so many people not from my background, because generally I speak with doctors and patients day in, day out. And Harshita spoke really well, gave me the jitters, to speak now because I'm not that good of a public speaker. Uh, so, um, Women's Equality Day. There are so many other such days that we celebrate now. And commendable that I'm seeing boys here too. I did not expect people to join in. On my screen, I see Kanishk, Nishant, and I don't know who, everyone else who's there. Um, Personally, for me, I'm a doctor. Yes, I tried to get away from the field of medicine because I thought of it as unfulfilling, judged too fast, tried my hand at an MBA, gave up two corporate jobs, and tried my hand at a startup. And then today I'm here. If you go and check my LinkedIn, you will feel that, I'm a confused soul and not really sure of what I want to do in life. And but yes, I think most of us who have joined today are either at that stage or have been at that stage. Um, Not specifically about women empowerment. I will be speaking in general about uh, what it takes to be an independent lady, and whom should you sort of look out for your support, or for trying to pave a better path for yourself. So I have just, if I'm allowed to share my screen, can I, Shambhavi?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay, great. So I just created a short because I'm a doctor, so I love to take notes. And can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So okay. So this I made quickly last night because I was thinking about, this is my first time speaking with so many youngsters, and I don't know what I should tell them about the limited experience that I have in my life. Um, when I joined MBBS back then in 2008, I joined because I was good in studies and because I was better at biology than I was at maths, and I'm still scared of maths. So anyone who's good at it, hats off to you guys. And so the obvious career choice for somebody who's very good at science was to become a doctor, and that's how I got pulled into it. The more I entered the field, I was such a protected kid, and I have fainted in the anatomy hall during the first dissection. That's what you have in the first year of MBBS. I have fainted during my gynec postings when I saw the first labor. And I think I cried that day when the first time I saw women delivering a child, and I was just an intern who was supposed to help, last of the ladder of hierarchy in an operating room. And I cried and I called up my mom and I told her that if this is how painful labor is, then I'm never having a child. And I continue to say that to her. And that sort of made me realize that being a woman is so much more about mental strength, about physical strength, about being vocal. And I've seen, maybe most of you must have also seen that your mothers or your grandmothers or your sisters behaving in a different way around the men in the house. And we continue to see that even today, which makes me want to assert that point that we all are from a privileged background today, where we have access to almost equal opportunities. I was born in a privileged family. And 6, 7 years down the line, I sort of try to understand that where should this privilege now take me? And as luck would have it, when you become a doctor from a government institute, so you have to serve 1 year mandatorily at a government hospital. So even after doing my MBA, I got back to serving a government hospital in Mumbai. And my luck, COVID struck, and I was in the middle of a pandemic, and I had been off the medical field for a good 3.5 years. So I was completely out of touch, and I was just struggling. And I proudly used to call it as COVID sponsored enthusiasm, because suddenly I felt important. I felt that whatever I have studied all these years is finally coming into of some value. There were 2, 3 incidents that sort of struck into me that, mm, this is what I would want to do for a longer period of my time. And one of those was again centered around a pregnant lady uh, who was positive. That was back in April when COVID was in full blow, and we didn't have beds reserved properly. The government also didn't have a fixed agenda of how to handle things in the city. And she was pregnant, her husband was hyper, and he wanted to get her admitted somewhere. And she was a COVID positive pregnant lady. And all I did was, it was 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was a casualty medical officer. I used Twitter for the first time in my life. I started tagging, the chief minister of Maharashtra, then there were BMC officials, and started posting that where should I send such patients? There are no protocols given to us, and we are just thrown away in the field, and we are figuring things out on our own. It took just 6 hours for that lady to get a bed at a premium government institute here. Um, the dean of that particular medical college came forward. It was in the news for that particular day. And I started getting calls from people who work in Indian Express, people who work in Dainik Bhaskar, and all the local newspapers. And they said that, do you know that your patient got a bed? And I had no idea. And 2, 3 such similar incidents, which were covered partly by the local media, made me realize, okay, there is something called as impactful service. I have just not figured out my way around it yet. So the most obvious choice is to get my hands dirty and start working. and I started volunteering with local organization and along with Shiv Sena, which is a very popular political party here. And I sort of reached out to them that, I want to start mobile clinics somehow, because there are diseases other than COVID that are still there. And there are a lot of people who stay in slums who are exclusively dependent on this particular hospital. And can I do something around it? I was lucky enough to go till the mayor. I have seen the whole bureaucratic circle, and I was given an opportunity to start a clinic at one of the slums in south of the city. That's in Kolaba. So the first month was me along with another friend of mine, and we sort of started charting out a plan. Okay, now we have gotten a space, but how do you win the hearts of the public, or you gain trust of the patients? That took us good 3 to 4 months, and I would say that those are one of the toughest times that we have had. I had left my job exclusively to focus on what we now call the Mumbai Health Project. And we started coming up with ideas about how can we translate our studies into a language that people at the grassroots can understand, and can we be more dependable citizens of the city. And I have consistently said that the younger generation, and don't mind, I'm going to be very candid with most of you all, we share a very abusive relationship with our country, wherein we are not very sure of how we can contribute. Most of the youngsters whom I meet are unaware about the local politics, the local bureaucratic network. Where can they participate? I was one of them, in fact, until last year. And um, where do my actions lie? Am I actually being a just, educated part of the society, or do I live in a bubble and I continue blaming the government for uh, making India the way it is? So I sort of then got into that whole, that slumdog millionaire kind of phase of my life, wherein I started visiting slums. I started meeting up with the local ladies there. There are some sob stories of women who have been left by their husbands because they are not financially, secure. There are sob stories about parents who are alone, and that is consistent in almost all sections of the society. And so there was these few points that sort of triggered me, which still trigger me, and you will see me talking about it more and more in social media. So that was a bit about how I came about the NGO that we recently got registered and have been working. And now the only aim is to make Mumbai Health Project into India Health Project, and start going into first the urban slums and then move towards the rural areas, and basically give a platform to doctors for being social entrepreneurs, for opening healthcare to other industries, including health tech. So we have some people from SRM. In fact, I don't know if she's in the um, audience, Ishi Saxena. Even she has joined us recently as a part of our tech design team. And we're looking at youngsters to sort of, know better about your surroundings and know how your studies can translate into something bigger than yourself. So the small messages that you can see on my screen is what I will try to elaborate quickly in the next 10 minutes. The first one is about individuality. I think even Harshita was speaking on similar lines. And what I would say is it takes a lot of guts to be different today. It takes a lot of guts to speak your heart. And we all have it in us. I have seen some tremendous transformations in people who joined us. You won't believe one of our team members has left a shiny corporate job, is working one-fourth of the salary because he wants to help others. And COVID is sort of the factor that opened everyone's eyes, I think. So this individuality is what you need to find out for yourself. I can't help you do that. And that is why I've made, okay, so I made this to-do list for SRM girls, thinking that it'll be a girls only event. but I think there are boys here also, so even they can do this. So try and make up a list of things you have taken up and left midway, and sort of keep looking at it every few weeks to stay grounded, to be, because that is my strong point, that I always stay grounded no matter whom I'm speaking to or what kind of crowd I'm dealing with. So that is what individuality means for me. And second is about collaboration. Gone are the days when you need to be hyper competitive, because there are a handful of things that are valuable to human race right now. It includes your planet, it includes the health of humans and other species. I keep them at the top of my list. So if the individual goals are the same of multiple organizations, I think now is such a fruitful time to be more collaborative. And a team works when you have people from different backgrounds and different experiences, and they come together and make something really beautiful. So that is something I would like to highlight, that try and meet as many different people as you can. So you might be engineers. So I'm giving you a gateway to meet more doctors and sort of understand how can you build the health tech bridge today. That is one way of seeing things. So you start celebrating your differences. Another very important point is not striving for perfection, because it is exhaustive. Success is not a one-point journey. Uh, so if once you are perfect at, for example, I was a perfect grade A student till my 12th standard. So then what? You have achieved that. Then what is next? So perfection as a concept is really tiring. Rather look for growth, look for enjoyment in what you do. I think the moment that clicks with you, very few people are lucky to work at a job that they thoroughly enjoy. So I am one of the few lucky ones, but it was a long journey that full of frustrations and crying and tantrums, that now I can say this confidently. I, Now I've done that part, that I don't want to be perfect at every step of the way, but at least I want to move forward daily. Otherwise it gives me anxiety. Plus, Harshita, in fact, spoke a lot of good points about financial stability, and I would just want to reinforce them. That yes, financial stability is what you should ultimately look at in your life. But a new concept that I would like to highlight is how you are earning that money, how badly you want to earn that money, and can that money be used for something other than yourself? Because it is a funny thing that even if you want to do social service, you need funds continuously. So 80% of my team's energy goes in raising funds. So is financial stability important? Yes. But if you were to choose a job based on the impact you can have on people's lives versus the amount of money you can earn from it, I'll give you time to think, to get back home, that what is more important for you, and try and pick that up. And if that is a job that can pay you well and you can see direct happiness in someone's eyes, I think that would be like a 5-star goal in my eyes. The seventh point, okay, I missed a sixth one. See, uh, perfection is not important. So converting your privilege into impact. If all of you here, I'm assuming, come from backgrounds where your parents worked really hard to provide you education, you are, of course, going to move forward into wonderful jobs. Some of you might leave India and never come back. But please stay in touch with your roots and try and figure out ways where you can convert your privilege into something other than just your own personal income or your own personal impact. Of course, after you have achieved the financial stability that you want. Uh, and I think this, if someone is able to work hard on the principle of converting your privilege into impact, you have won the rat race that we call today. And one of the few last points, mentorship is something very important, because I could, in fact, my first mentor, was an engineer, is an engineer. And we were all doctors who were figuring out social impact strategies. And we hit upon a certain online conference and met an engineer, an NRI who settled abroad. And he then spent good 1.5 months, twice a week, sitting with us and training us into branding, marketing, financial statements, how to evaluate success in terms of money, and then, turn it into social impact. So I cannot undermine the concept of mentorship. Try to keep one or two mentors, one for your professional lives, someone you look up to, and someone you can go to and sort of pour your heart out and understand what you can do in your personal life. And one should definitely be a professional mentor who has done something that you strive to do, and then you're able to at least meet them once in a month and have a good conversation. They need not be someone really old. They can be someone of your age group, but they have achieved in your eyes more than you have at that particular age group. So try and do that. Age is not a bar there. And the last bit is what COVID has taught us, and that you should also sort of take it as a part of your life. Is there are so many uncertainties, and humans are such fools that we make grand plans, for our careers, for our marriages, to spend more time with our parents, grandparents, and you never know when life changes and you are not able to sort of give justice to it. So whatever time you have today, sadly, that is the only thing you have. So instead of feeling anxious about it, or instead of being too futuristic, I would say that staying in the present really keeps you sorted in your head, doesn't make you anxious. And you should try and do that daily. Try to revisit the things that are out of your control, and you should not let them, sort of burden you on a daily basis. And yes, I have written a few past mistakes that you should avoid, and I think everyone should avoid this. And I, being doctor, doctors are the worst when it comes to their own health. Okay, so and we keep advising others about how to take care of your health. It sort of is the paradox of the field. But yes, I would say that never ever take your youth for granted, never ever take your health for granted. Learn things that your mother knows, including the favorite dishes and all, because only you will just keep crying later. So that's how it is. And yes, I would say that the ending remarks are attempt to be a very strong individual. Be confident in making mistakes. No one is sitting there with a microscope and looking at you. Okay, everyone is too busy in their own lives. So take this as a goal of freedom. And I'm not telling this specifically for girls. I'm specifically saying this also for the boys now who have joined the group, that maybe you can be just that concept of gender should now dissolve into nothingness. There is nothing like um, LGBTQ or women or children or men anymore. It is all about a single race that is just struggling for survival. So women here should sort of now start looking into themselves and try and figure out, if I am the first generation of my family who has been educated to this level, it should only go ahead from here. That is a short remark about what women's equality means for me. Thank you, Shamali.
Thank you, ma'am, for your highly informative words. I really appreciate you sharing all those amazing details about your journey. And I think all of us really admire you for your contributions. I would like to request you to answer a few questions that our audience has for you.
Yeah, I can see something in the messages. I'm supposed to reply to that?
Yeah, do you want me to read them for you?
No, I'll read it.
All right.
No issues. Okay, so how do I stay motivated and empowered? Uh, I spend a lot of energy in the people who are close to me. That includes my family and my friends. And that is just the way I am. And I drive energy from them. Plus, some of the patients who I meet, I love listening to stories about people and how they've spent their lives or the struggles they've had. And that keeps on instilling the fact that I'm very lucky and now itna acha mera paas hai sab kuch, so iske aage what can I do? So I think the more struggles that you see, the more motivated you become that uh, I don't want to be at that level, but I'm going to pull these people out of there. So what can I do? That. So I think, yeah. And as a doctor, what are some of the struggles you faced? Being a woman, uh, I personally haven't faced any, touch wood, but I have seen many of my friends choosing family over career and then sort of regretting it later. So I see that not just in doctors, but in all other fields also. So I think being a woman, people expect you to be like a mother first, a fiance or a girlfriend or a friend first, and you have to give full energy to each and every relationship of your life. And nobody asks. For example, if you have a brother in your family, he rarely participates in any of the family discussions, but everything is looked at you with, you will be the problem solver. So men get away with that, I think. So that is draining. And so balancing family and work life is, I think it is still not there yet in the Indian scenario. Okay, you have gone through different changes and phases. So which is that remained same? I have remained the same, exact same, with my parents and with my sister and my fiance. So I don't think so in front of them I've changed at all, and that is what keeps me sort of the way I am. So I think that part. Otherwise, professionally, I've been through too much. If you would meet me 3 years back, I wouldn't have been able to speak also. If you ask some of my MBBS batchmates, they wouldn't even recognize my voice because I hardly used to speak in college. So, that's how it is. What does it take to be a leader? I think I've said it even in those notes. You need to be self aware. I think that's the only thing. There is a leader in all of us. Biggest success and learning opportunity is my patients, because they just reveal all the minutest details of their lives in front of me. So, and you sort of learn so many things about the human nature from that. So I think being a good listener would take you a long, long way. So always be observant of what is happening around you, the people whom you can influence with your actions. And I think that people are the biggest learning opportunities. So, yes, great. I think I've answered everyone else. And stay in touch. If anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn or some other platform, I might not reply on the same day, but I will reply for sure. So, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So finally, I would like to introduce Ms. Akanksha Singh. She is the founder, chairperson of IEEE at SRM. She comes with a demonstrated experience in the data analytics services at HSBC, having worked with the cutting edge technologies like Google Cloud Platform, Agile, DevOps, BigQuery, Linux, Python, DataStage, Tetra data, database management systems, and data warehousing. She is dedicated to promoting women and inspiring them to follow their passion for technology and build a career in it through the right mentorship. The stage is all yours, ma'am.
Hi Shambhavi, a quick audio video check. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
It's okay, don't call me ma'am. I'm just, I'll mostly be 3 or 4 years older to you. But yeah, thank you. I'm honored and I'm glad to meet you all here. And hopefully you still have the time and energy to hear me. So hello everyone, I'm Akanksha Singh, and Shambhavi, thank you for the wonderful intro. So yes, I am the founder chairperson of IEEE SRM, and I'm so happy to see you guys scale up till here. And I can't tell you, like, I'm just really happy to be a part of it. Thank you for calling me and making me witness how you are progressing. And also, I was a member of the founding executive committee of IEEE at SRM. So I have seen, as I am the native member of IEEE SRM, I have seen it from the scratch, and it makes me very happy to talk to you guys here. So I'm not here to give you lots of gyan, okay? So I would love to give you something which you want. So the chat is open. As the session goes, drop in your questions related to SRM life, placements, what happens after, what happened inside, what do you want to know about SRM from me? and beyond. Like, how is the corporate life after college? I know these things, even I was totally clueless when I was in your shoes. So I would love to bust all the myths along the way. And I will drop my LinkedIn URL at the end so that you can connect me on LinkedIn. So I I might take a couple of days or 3 or 4 days to reply, but please don't mind. So ISB really makes me cry for time. So okay, and Harshita beautifully told her journey, and it was so inspiring to know that how she was a competitive girl as a kid, and she transformed into an empowered woman whom we see today, who dares to achieve what she dreams of. And she also highlighted the fact that how people surrounding you plays a very important role in your life. What I want you to take away from her speech is that believe in the beauty of your dreams and always keep a note of people who supports you. I mean, genuinely. So you should always keep them around because battles are not won alone. So you need to have people supporting or backing you along the way. And Dr. Malvika like beautifully said that how individuality and collaboration are very important in your life, and like you should have the guts to speak out, dare to do what you want to do, and take your stance, and do not move away from what you decided. So I know the path would be tough, but it will all be worth it when you achieve it. Trust me on this. And collaboration, yes, like I said, you cannot win the battle alone. So even in real corporate world, one project is not run by one person. So there is a huge team behind the success of any project or any company. So this is one such skill which you should possess, and you should not be like I should be competitive individually, but you should be competitive and collaborative at the same time. So okay, I think let me tell you about something about myself. So I have always challenged my boundaries. I was one of few sometime back pursuing BTech in ECE from SRM. So for your information, I am a 2018 pass out batch candidate. And let me some of the facts about myself. Like, I was the first and the only woman in the executive batch of 13 people back then. I am the first women engineer in my family. Now the first women to do an MBA in my family. So transcending my boundaries. And yeah, only one from the campus to get placed at HSBC Hyderabad, and the youngest and the only women in my team there while working. And being a tech enthusiast, like most of you here, I believe, during my tenure at HSBC, I have worked on all the cutting edge technologies which Shambhavi just told, so I'm not repeating. I know some of the technologies you might not have heard of, but just for a broad overview, these are all data analytics tool, and which comes really handy when you come to the corporate life. And post work, I decided to go for an MBA because MBA was something which I always wanted to do. And I was looking to apply for schools in India and abroad. I gave GMAT, I scored 740, and I started applying. So it's like I grabbed 6 offers from across the globe with full scholarships from 5 of them. Some of the schools you might have heard of. I mean, they are Chicago Booth, USC Marshall, University of South California, Marshall School of Business. The other is Indiana University, Kelley School of Business, University of Rochester, Simon School of Business, UNC Keenan Flagler, and ISB. And ultimately, I chose ISB. Also, I have been awarded the Forte Fellowship Forte Fellowship membership for the same. So for those people who don't know what Forte Fellowship is, so Forte Foundation is the largest women professional organization in the world, and they sponsor few candidates. They just cover all the tuition fees, which means you study for free anywhere in the world. And during placements, the top 100 companies in the world, they prefer you because you are a fellowship member. So I'm telling you all this because I am willing to support you. I mean, men and women here, you are from my alma mater. I definitely will have a soft corner for you. Those who are looking for some guidance for placement processes, what the companies want from the candidates when they come to campus to recruit, how is the interview process, how to prepare for the same. I mean, I was on the same boat once, and I understand that the entire process can be nerve-wracking. So I would be happy to bust the fears and myths. And I feel there is no better time to put your learnings and experiences to good use. And what is knowledge if it's not worth sharing, right? Also, you can reach out to me if you are an MBA aspirant, and I would love to help you write your own stories, especially amidst the plethora of uncertainties the world is currently facing. But that should not stop you. And ask me about anything. Ask me about the GMAT exam, the Global B School selection, applications, interviews. I mean, anything under the roof which would help you move ahead in your journey, okay? And also, if you are ambitious enough to have a breakthrough in the career of your dreams, you are already in the right place. So if you are an IEEE member already, bang on. If not, now is the time to join the squad. So let me give you enough reasons how IEEE can change your life, how IEEE changed my life, and how, and if you are willing to listen. So there is no denying the power that a strong professional network can have over your career's success. I mean, I understand at your stage, even I wasn't able to comprehend what networking actually is and why is it so hyped up right now. And so I would try to explain in some easy ways. So, for example, why networking is important and how you network in IEEE. Like, you are meeting new people from various backgrounds. You are learning from their experiences. You are learning from their mistakes and how they tackled when they did a mistake, so you do not repeat the mistake. You learn from diverse set of people belonging to different cultures, traditions, and backgrounds. Like, trust me, nowadays corporate industries gives high priority in hiring diverse people to solve global problems. I mean, you must have noticed companies go and hire from all kinds of colleges, right? And not just fill in people from one college. Why not a company only takes people from IITs, and why from all over the country? So that is the reason. They need diverse mindsets. And this is because, different people brings different perspective to the problem on the table. And this makes the solution mutually exclusive. You don't leave any point behind while solving a problem. So that is, and IEEE is like, you meet people from all backgrounds, all departments, and you work together and you learn every day if you genuinely harness the benefits. And this is a place to hone your soft skills, which is the most important aspect of being successful in corporate life. It can include communication skills, like whether it's speech or it's presentation skills, research, event management, people management. You are going to learn it here as a team, and you are going to use it in real time. Not everything in the book which you read is going to help you, but this is what is actually going to help you in long run. So in IEEE, you conduct a lot of events. You hold different position of responsibilities. You hone your leadership skills, which is very important when you scale up the ladder in your career. You hone team building skills. When you're probably when you conducted this event, you as a team conducted it, and that is what I'm talking about. Like, team building skills is honed. And collaboration, so Dr. Malvika has already told about it, so I'm not repeating. And I would say, whatever the society says, um, there is one most important aspect of the life is that you should be connected to your hobbies. They will anyway be judgmental, so don't just bother much, and have one hobby that can keep your mind happy, one hobby which can keep your body happy, healthy. And also, if you have the time and energy left, have one hobby which can help you make money. And if it makes your life easier if you work and earn for something which you already like doing, which means like your hobby is what you're working in. So perfect. And that's it from me. I don't want to give away more of it. I just want you to take away as much as you want from me. And Shambhavi, if you can help me moderate with the questions in the chat, I would be
Yes,
willing
ma'am,
to
sure.
answer.
The first question is by Advika. What is one thing we all can do to make a positive impact on gender equality in our society?
Positive impact of gender equality. I think we need to think in a way that gender equality doesn't mean gender biasness. Like, in the, for example, if we as women are getting equal opportunities, we should not misuse it. Gender equality doesn't mean you have to ignore the guys. Guys are the allies, and without them you cannot move ahead. You have the world, as a world you have to collaborate with everybody, not only women. I think if that is the mindset, it's easy to do.
The next question is, what was your sole reason to start WI in the first place?
Shambhavi, are you stuck, or is it my network is bad?
Akansha?
Yeah.
Shambhavi was just reading out the question. I think she has a network issue.
Okay. So mine is.
Yeah, I'll just repeat the question for you. One of the Tanisha has asked, what was your sole reason to start WIE in the first place?
Okay, the sole reason. I was very surprised to see the participation of women in engineering. Like, for example, you would see more women in, for example, biology, but not in technology. So that actually kind of triggered me. And also, in your classes also, if you see ECE and triple E and mechanical, the count is very less. So WIE's sole motto was to unite everybody and make them aware that technology is a nice place to be, and you, as a woman, can be a part of it. So that was my sole motto.
Yeah, yes. And Shambhavi, are you there? Shambhavi? Okay, let's.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shambhavi, then you can go to the next question.
The next question is, how did you go from being an ECE student to a data analyst?
Okay, so ECE, I don't know how many of you are from ECE. So ECE has, it's electronics and communication, right? So it's electronics plus some parts of computer science. It's a mixture of both. And data analytics is something, which anyone can do. I once, it just feels heavy to hear, but it is not. Data analytics is logical. Till the time you're logical, you can do it. You just need a handful of tools, which you can anyway go and study, take your time, take 2 weeks time, take 1 month time, get accustomed to the software. But that's just a language, right? If you have the logic, you can implement data analytics. Does that answer the question?
The last question. Yes, ma'am, that was great. Am I audible?
Yes.
The last question is, what are some challenges that you faced in your industry, and what was the stereotypes that you felt limited you and you'd like to address them or change them?
Challenges faced in the industry would be very less gender ratio, which is, we all know that, and it's the truth. So still hoping for a better day to come where, we see more girls and more women in the office. And stereotypes, a lot of stereotypes, like, for example, you cannot look good if you have brains. You cannot have beauty plus brains together. Nope, that's a stereotype. And also, there is a great stereotype, like, if you are an intelligent student, you are not good in extracurriculars, something like that. If you are doing too much of extracurriculars, you are not a topper. These are all stereotypes and myths, trust me. And you should not take account. Society is always going to judge you. Don't listen to them, just follow your heart. It's like, you can do everything. You can still be good at extracurriculars and still be a topper, and you can still manage your family. You can do everything. It's just in your mind. It's all a mind game. Over to you, Shambhavi.
Shambhavi? Yeah, continue,
When women are living safe, fulfilled, and productive lives, they can reach their full potential, contributing their skills to the workforce, and are also able to help fuel sustainable economies and benefit societies and humanity at large. When women and girls are supported, they gain opportunities to speak up for their rights and also to advocate for their communities. Finally, I would like to invite our faculty advisor, Dr. M.S. Vasanti, to announce the winners of the writing competition as well as share a few words with us.
Yes, Akansha, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. It was wonderful to see you again uh, in our event. And thank you so much. You have addressed a lot of questions, and I'm sure many of the students will have a lot of takeaways from here. Thank you, Akansha,
Thank you, ma'am. It
for your
was my
time.
pleasure.
Yes, Akansha. So, as part of this event, one essay competition was organized by the students on a general topic like future women. So, many students participated, and essays were evaluated, and uh, there were many points that were mentioned, which really were wonderful. Many their perspective. Every participant put in their perspective of the what a future woman would be or should be, right? So based on that, a judging process, and three winners were selected from the responses that were received. So I would like to, before I actually announce the winners, I just want to ask Shambhavi if she can project the essay which won the first prize, just to show the essay. Yeah, the first prize for the essay writing competition goes to Ruchi Sinha. Ruchi Sinha, and she's an ECE student, right? And the second prize goes to Sri Lakshmi Vijayam, and the third prize, yeah, Sri Lakshmi Vijayam, and the third prize goes to Prasun Mondal. Prasun Mondal. So really wonderful essays from these girls, and we are really happy to, be. And I would like to congratulate these prize winners for writing wonderfully and sharing their thoughts on what a future woman should be. So, if Ruchi Sinha is there, can I have her on board? Ruchi Sinha, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Ruchi Sinha, great. So, congratulations first on your essay writing and winning the first prize on your essay. So, just a few words, Ruchi,
Thank you
since you
so
have
much.
given an essay on Future Woman, please share your thoughts on what you have written, of course, was wonderful, which gave you your prize, but just share a few thoughts, just a few minutes.
Um, I think every single person has a masculine and a feminine side inside them. And our femininity is like our biggest strength, our empathy, and there's so many things that a woman can do. So my perspective was that I think a future woman will realize that her strength, her femininity, and she will use that to make the world a better place. And for that to happen, we need to I think protect the young girls of today. We need to educate them. We are like obviously we are from a privileged background, so we are educated and we have a lot of equal opportunities. But I think women in a I think in small towns in India and a lot of remote areas they don't get the same opportunities. So I think we are the ones who should help them. As Dr. Malvika ma'am said, we should, the growth is what we should think about. So that was the whole idea of the essay that I wrote.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's wonderful. That is very important to rope in all the sections of the society, right? That's very important. Very nice. Thank you. And we also have shared the link for the feedback on this event. So in the chat box, the link is available. Please give your feedback for the event by clicking on the link and giving your feedback. All we would request all to give the feedback. It would be wonderful. Even the those who are organizers Even the organizers can give the feedback. Even guests, just go through it, ma'am. Even the guests can give feedback. Yes, Shambhavi, you can continue.
Thank you, ma'am, and a hearty congratulations to all the winners. Really well done. Now, before I give the vote of thanks, I would like to request everyone to switch their cameras on for a quick picture to remember this moment.
This is our
Guys,
way of having a group photograph
please turn your
for the event.
cameras on, guys.
Yeah. Malvika, ma'am, thank you, Malvika. Harshita ma'am is there? Harshita, thank you. So we have our guests and our participants. So maybe we'll have a bigger layout so we can increase more participants on the screen, and then we can take a print screen. Few more can switch on their videos. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Shambhavi will continue.
Thank you, everyone. Also, I would like to request all of you to fill the feedback form given in the chat box. You will be receiving your certificates via the link provided in the chat box itself.
Yeah, and I'll take this opportunity to just a small vote of thanks. Shambhavi, do you have a vote of thanks, or I'm giving it from my side? I'll give it from my side because I want to really thank all the participants also and the guests especially. They have done a wonderful service, I would say, by being available to them, to our students. So thank you, Harshita, thank you, Malvika and Akansha. And it's not over. So we will be we will be in touch with you. I just hope that you can continue to contribute to our cause whenever and wherever. Thank you so much for being with us. And all the participants, thank you. Organizers have done a wonderful job. Actually, I just sitting at the back. I'm just here only today. It's the organizer, Shambhavi, Devanshi. I don't know who else is behind. Devanshi is the one I'm talking to. So who else is behind Devanshi and all those whoever have contributed, thank you so much for making this event. Yes, Devanshi, you can say something, and Shambhavi, you can wrap up. And Akansha has given her LinkedIn profile, so you can the students can get in connected to her through that. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Like ma'am said, I think it's all about team hard work that goes into planning and executing an event. I would like to thank WIE Secretary Ishi, the team leads, Advika, Tanisha, content team of IEEE, the publicity team, and they all have put equal efforts. So thank you, guys. I would like to thank all the guest speakers who joined with us today despite their busy schedule and shared with us our thoughts. Thank you, everyone. Shambhavi, you can take from here.
All right. So, again, thank you so much, Ashita ma'am, Malvika ma'am, for taking time out of your respective schedules, and Akanksha ma'am for always being present here with us and supporting us throughout. And also, thank you very much, Sangeeta ma'am and Vasanti ma'am, for joining us despite your busy schedules, and the entire SRM student branch for the hard work that goes into planning these webinars and making them possible. Lastly, I would like to thank the audience for attending the webinar. The goal of today's session was to inspire the women of tomorrow to break the norms of society and leave their mark on this world. And your presence and active participation in the webinar encourages us to conduct more of these in the future. Thank you so much.
Shambhavi, I would like to add that I have put my LinkedIn profile, and usually I mean, if you're dropping me a request, please drop a note that so that I know that you are from SRM and you attended this webinar, so that I accept it. Otherwise, it usually gets ignored. That's it.
Wonderful. Yeah. Bye. Bye. Bye to all the participants and bye to the guests also. Bye, ma'am. Bye.